Okay, I'm going to show you my least favorite way of cutting these out, and that is with a utility knife. So, first thing, I really would prefer that you used a saw. Second thing, you have to be really, really careful if you're using a utility knife because it's really easy to cut yourself. So, that being said, if you have nothing but a box cutter or an xacto knife or a utility knife, then this is your method, right? So first of all, you have to mark this on both sides. So you're going to take this, draw the side out on one side, right? Okay, you're going to mark the top here, mark the top here, mark the bottom where this touches, right? So if you look, you can see where this bottom edge touches here, mark the bottom edge here, and flip it over. So you know this board goes on this way, right? So you're going to flip this over, you're going to flip this over, and you're going to line those top corners up with that. You're going to line the bottom corners up with these lines, right? Best that you can, and trace it again. Okay, so let's see what I got. It's going to come over just a hair. Okay, I'm going to trace it on this side. All right, now I've got it traced on both sides. Now you're going to use your utility knife or your box cutter or your X-Acto knife, and you're going to lightly scratch in outside of the line. So picking them out outside of the line, like a 32nd or a 16th, whatever it is, and just scratch in a very light little cut. You're not trying to cut through the whole thing. You're just trying to cut through a teeny, teeny, tiny bit. And then cut through a teeny, tiny bit more and a teeny, tiny bit more. So do 3 or 4 cuts, right? So I've got that end. I can flip it over and I can do this straight line. I just spun it around. I didn't flip it over. So I'm doing this line and I'm cutting it a few times outside the line. Right now for the curve. So I'm going to get in that curve and I'm just going to very lightly scratch just outside of that line. You can see I'm just outside of that line. Very lightly scratch until I meet up with this line right here. Okay, I'm going to get back in that line up here and I'm going to follow it and scratch in there a little bit more. And I'm going to do it again. All right, I'm not putting a lot of force on it, just going a little tiny bit at a time. Okay, I'm going to do it on this side, a little bit outside of that line, on the waist side of the line. You can always go from the other direction, but make sure that you find that same point. Okay, so now I've scratched through from one side everywhere. Flip it over. Now I'm going to do that exact same thing again. So I'm going to scratch that straight line in and scratch it again and again, going a tiny bit deeper each time, not too much force. Right, on this side, scratch this straight line in. Right, a little at a time, not too deep. Right, then I'm going to get on the curve and I'm going to scratch this in. Do it a few times. All right, got that in a few times. On this side. Now on this other side. Scratch this side in lightly at first, not too much force, just nice and light. And then the next time I can go a tiny bit deeper. And the next time I can go a tiny bit deeper. Okay? And then I could go even a tiny bit deeper. All right. So now I'm going to hit these intersections where they meet. I'm going to push it in a little bit there. Push it in kind of next to that. Just kind of follow along here, pushing in a bit, kind of severing some of those fibers. Hit this end. Right, I'm starting to push that in a little bit every now and then. Right, you can feel it kind of giving way. And I want to make sure to hit this corner. Right, I can flip it over, push from the other side, maybe drag that knife along in that gap, and should be starting to give. All right, look at that. All right, so what did I do? I just kind of pushed down a couple places here and there in that groove. All right, just kind of dragging my knife along, pushing it down. Made sure to get right in this intersection. There for sure. Here for sure. All right, a couple places in here. All right. Flip over to the other side. Couple places in here. Oh, pops right off. Be sure to get that intersection. Yeah. Okay.